Good evening. This is a special meeting of Livingston's Planning Board, and notice of this meeting has been distributed in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thank you, Jack. Can you please call the roll?
Yes. Mr. Klein? Here. Mr. Ratner? Mr. Ratner? Ms. Begoli?
Here.
Ms. Vishnu?
Here.
Chairman Fernandez?
Here.
Yeah. We have our quorum. Just note for the record that Mr. Reber, Mr. Diner, Mr. Lewis, Ms. Gucci, and Mr. Santola are not present this evening. We also have our board attorney and Catherine Madry from the Planning Department.
Thank you. Jackie, can you please call the first matter?
Matter scheduled for this evening is minor subdivision with variances for 28 McCall Avenue, Block 1703, Lot 3, application number 2023-3-MSUBV, Thomas Drapala.
Thank you and welcome. As I look in the audience, I don't see anybody here looking to make a formal appearance, either in support of or in opposition to the application, but I just wanted to review the procedure for tonight's hearing. The applicant's attorney will call one or more witnesses to give sworn testimony in support of the application, and members of the board may ask the witness questions. And when when the board and anybody from the public has no more questions, then we will move forward with the next witness. When all the parties have been heard, members of the public may give sworn statements for or against the application. Mr. Gibler, how are you? You'd like
Good evening,
to
sir.
enter your appearance for the record, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Harvey Gilbert. I'm here on behalf of Tom and Cynthia Drapala in connection with their desire to subdivide lot on 28 McCall Avenue.
Thank you. And you can call your first witness, please.
I'd like you first to hear from Tom Drapala. Mr. Drapala is sitting next to me. Would you like him to be sworn?
Yes, please.
Raise your right hand, sir. You swear the testimony given this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Drapala of 28 McCall Ave.
Mr. Drapala, you are the owner of 28 McCall Avenue with your wife?
Yes.
And the purpose of appearing before the planning board this evening is what?
For a proposed lot subdivision?
And you have requested Mr. Lanzafama to prepare materials to present to the board, identifying your property and the way in which you suggest it be divided. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Lanzafama's documents and my application has been presented to the board for their consideration. Is that what your understanding is?
That is correct.
I have no other questions of Mr. Drapala.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, if you can then move forward with your next witness.
Thank you. I'd like to present to the board Michael Lanzafama, who has prepared the materials for the board's consideration this evening. Mr. Lanzafama, would you please be sworn in?
Swear the testimony you're about to give this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do. My name is Michael Lanzafama. That's Lanzafama. I'm a licensed professional engineer, land surveyor, and planner, licensed in the state of New Jersey. I'm a principal with the firm of Casey & Keller Incorporated, 258 Main Street, Millburn, New Jersey. I've testified before this board on numerous similar matters over the years, and my licenses are still all current on all three counts. And I'll be using my surveying and planning hat tonight with regard to the proposed subdivision.
Any objections or questions from the board? And you're accepted as an expert in surveying and planning.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lanzafama, would you please review for the board the materials that you have produced and discuss the nature of the 28 McCall Avenue property and the variances necessary for the board to consider, hopefully granting an approval.
Certainly. The property in question is 28 McCall Avenue. It's tax lot 3 in block 1703. It's a 50-foot wide by 200-foot through lot. That is, the street address is McCall, where the structure is currently located. However, the property extends all the way through to Franklin Avenue, which is the street to our southeast. The property is located in the R4 zone, and the property was created as part of a subdivision map of the Amato Park that was done back in 1927. That map basically created a series of 50 by 100-foot lots. And the property being in the R4 zone is required to have 9,375 square feet as measured within 125 feet of the street right-of-way line. The lots being proposed, as you can see from the map that appears on the screen, is to basically cut the properties into two, creating two 50 by 100-foot lots, each being 5,000 square feet in size, which would require variances for lot area. The variance or the deviation that we were seeking is 4,375 square feet. There is an existing structure on the lot to the northwest, which is the McCall Avenue lot, the 28 McCall Avenue address. This building has several existing non-conforming setback conditions that exist on the property. I can never get this to move. There we go. The side yard setbacks are currently non-compliant, as is the front yard setback. None of the setbacks dealing with front or side yard would be exacerbated by the proposed subdivision. The building is also compliant with regard to building coverage and FAR. There are existing accessory structures to the rear of the property. There's an enclosed porch which is attached to the principal building, as well as a wooden deck, a slate patio. There's a shed and a number of fences that exists towards the rear. The proposal is to remove the shed, remove the slate patio, the existing fences that currently define the property. However, the client would like to leave the wood deck and the enclosed porch, which requires an additional variance in addition to the lot area variance. If you measure the setback from the porch to the new lot line, we're at 29.1 feet. So we would require an additional variance of 5.9 feet for the rear yard setback to that enclosed porch. In your ordinance, decks are allowed in the rear yard. However, they can only extend up to 10 feet into the rear yard. So therefore, that creates an implied rear yard setback for decks of 25 feet. The existing deck is at 14.9 feet. So we would need a variance of 10.1 feet with regard to the setback for the deck. In addition, there's a limitation on the size of a deck or a patio of up to 200 square feet. This existing deck is 265 square feet. So we would need a 65 square foot deviation to leave the deck in place. And finally, there's a requirement that the deck can be no higher than 3 feet above the lowest grade surrounding the deck. Currently, the deck is at 3 foot 9 inches above the lowest point. So there's an existing nonconformity there of 9 inches. Obviously, that's not going to be exacerbated by the subdivision. The fact of the matter is the deck and the enclosed porch are actually accessory structures in a front yard when you look at the lot under its existing conditions. So by performing the subdivision, you're eliminating an existing nonconformity, technically, with regard to accessory structures in the front yard. I don't see the variance being requested for those structures to be significant. They provide for amenity space for the existing structure. They've been there for quite a few years, and we would like to retain them. I don't see a significant impact on the adjoining property owners. Obviously, in the future, it would impact anybody that might construct on the newly created Lot 3.02, which would front on Franklin Avenue. As far as the variance goes for the lot area itself and the creation of this lot, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, oh, there we go. Okay, pull that down. If you look in the upper right-hand corner of our plat, you can see the neighborhood character. The neighborhood consists of a series of 50 by 100-foot lots, which are the remnants of the D'Amato map. We did an analysis of the neighborhood, and when you look at the lot areas and lot frontages of the homes that exist along Franklin Avenue on both sides of the street within 400 feet in the same R4 zone, we have 10 lots that are in that area, 6 of which are 50 feet wide and 5,000 square feet. So we would meet the 60% that establishes neighborhood character under your ordinance. Under section 170-87G1, it talks about existing platted lots. And it talks about creating the character or defining the character of the neighborhood. So that would meet that standard. The frontage, I'm sorry, that was the frontage on McCall Avenue, excuse me. The frontage on Franklin Avenue is 7 lots are included in the analysis. We excluded the PSE&G property, which is on the left side of your screen. You see right where the tax lot 1-1703, that's PSE&G right-of-way. Obviously, those would not be included in the analysis. There's also a vacant township parcel in lot 14 that we did not include in the analysis. So the analysis on Franklin is that there are a total of 7 lots, 4 of which are non-compliant with regard to lot width and lot area, similar to what we're proposing. And that comes out to 57.1%. Granted, it's less than the 60, but it's still very, very close. And in my mind, the benefits of allowing this subdivision to go forward, and I've talked about this on several occasions that I've presented before this board. In my mind, this is a C2 variance that can be granted because the benefits outweigh the detriment. This is a better planning alternative. It advances the general welfare by advancing the goals of the state master plan, which is to develop new home sites and new opportunities in area where infrastructure already exists, often referred to as infill development. It also provides sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of residential uses, meeting the needs of all New Jersey residents. Remember, the home that would be constructed on this lot is only a 5,000 square foot lot, so the proposed home size would potentially be modest in size and might be more affordable to a first-time home buyer. It also promotes a desirable visual effect along the streetscape by maintaining the character of the neighborhood and adding to the welfare of the general public. As far as the negative criteria goes, the proposal will improve the streetscape along Franklin Avenue and maintain it along McCall Avenue. The rhythm and spacing of the existing streetscape will be maintained. The massing and the character of the neighborhood is preserved. Lot sizes are consistent with the neighborhood as to area and width. And I don't feel that, I believe in this case, creating this new building lot would be beneficial to the community and will outweigh any detriments. I don't see any substantial impairment to the zoning plan or to the master plan. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. We did receive memos from Beacon as well as from engineering. There were some, it's the usual, we have to get SED approval, we have to get a lot grading permit, we have to pay for sewer and water connections, and there's no issues, obviously, with any of those items. We would adhere to all of those requirements within the memos.
There were a couple other planning comments. The applicant should address the ability of each lot to accommodate common accessory features, given the reduction in size.
Right, well, if you look at the lots that we are proposing, the required lot depth of 100 feet for the new lot, it has a front setback of approximately 31 feet and a rear setback of 35, so that's what, 66 feet? So you still have 44 feet to work in, and remember, the patio or the deck can extend 10 feet into the rear yard. It's a 50 by 35-foot rear yard area. In my mind, that would be adequate to support a patio or a deck. Would it have an in-ground pool? Probably not, but it could certainly support an above-ground pool. Remember, it's a smaller house size, and I don't see that as being detrimental. I believe we can provide the necessary amenities for a potential homeowner.
And they also said the applicant should demonstrate that the home will be consistent with the character of the neighborhood in respect to setbacks and height.
Well, we're indicating the required setbacks, the lot being 50 feet wide. We have two side yard setbacks of 10 feet. So a 30-foot wide house by a house that's 40 feet deep is not inconsistent with the neighborhood, and would be a good-sized house. You're looking at 1,200 square feet on a floor. That's about a 2,000 square foot house, which is just about what this lot could support.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Just to pick up on that point of preserving the character of the neighborhood, would the applicant accept the condition of approval, if there is approval, that no variance for habitable floor area or habitable floor area ratio would be sought?
That would be up to my client. It's a right we have to make an application for a variance. We don't perceive needing one. He's obviously, the owner's looking to sell the lot. He's not looking to develop it himself. That's up to the owner and the attorney. From my perspective, I don't
No, I
think
don't
it's.
understand the question.
Mr. Klein, would you please repeat your question
Yeah.
so Mr. DePaolo
There is an ordinance which says that a house must not have more than a certain number of habitable square feet. And there is a ratio in relationship to the dimensions of the lot, which also cannot be exceeded. That's designed to ensure that homes that are built are consistent with the neighborhood. That seems to be the goal that you're seeking. What I'm asking is whether you would be willing to firmly commit by accepting a condition that no variance or departure from those standards would be sought for these lots.
So that would cap the size of the buildable structure?
No, Tom, let me just put some numbers to it.
Yeah.
What you're allowed to build without any variance is a home that would be about 1,200 square feet in size, 1,233 to be exact. About 1,250 actually to be exact. And the total FAR that you're allowed is 1,500 square feet. So you're looking at a smaller, like a Cape Cod or a ranch-style home. Garages are not included in that number, up to 450 square feet, I believe. So to give you a sense of what size house a potential buyer might be able to build, it's something in the neighborhood of about 1,950 square feet if you include the garage. So
I mean,
just to give you an idea.
That seems small to me, based on the house that sits on Franklin Ave right next door. It's much larger.
That's on a 100 by 100 foot lot. That's on
No,
the
the other house.
the other
On
house.
the 50 by 100. That house is certainly much larger than that.
Okay, we can't compel you to do this. We're just asking if you're really willing.
He's probing.
Right, well, I want to be able to, I'm sorry?
It's,
The one I'm citing is the one that
let me
would be.
get over there.
could just,
The one on
that'll
lot
be
4?
lot 5, right? Or
Lot
lot 4, yes.
Lot 4.
That house looks to me like it's like 3,500 square feet.
So that would be 5 Franklin Avenue, Lot 4?
That's
Correct.
5 Franklin Avenue, yeah. I don't think it's that large.
Yeah,
And then
probably.
the one thing I also wanted to mention is the homes on McCall Avenue towards East McClellan, they're essentially two-family homes that sit on lots.
Yeah,
that are
that's in a different zone.
Oh, that's a different zone,
It's a
okay.
different zone,
Oh,
a different
okay.
size lot.
I see, okay.
Are there any other
Klein, I
questions?
believe my client's response to you is he feeling a little uncomfortable accepting such a blanket restriction against what might be done in the future on that property.
Fair enough. Thank you.
It's 5,000.
Any other questions from the board? Seeing none, any additional witnesses?
We don't have any further witnesses for the
The-
board's consideration. Mr.
Just for the
Fernandez.
record, the building, the home on 5 Franklin Avenue is about 2,900 square feet. So I would support the statement that Mr. LaSafana made about a 2,000 square foot home would be what would fit in that area based on the largest one that's there, which is number 5, is not really that much larger than what he anticipated based on the county records.
Thank you. So no additional witnesses?
No further witnesses.
Just to, I don't see anybody, any members of the public want to make a statement for or against? Seeing none. With that, you have the opportunity to make any closing remarks.
I'll be very brief. I believe Mr. Lanzafame is quite comprehensive and thorough, and I note the board can easily realize from Mr. Lanzafame's presentation that the streets, Franklin and McCall, have several properties adjacent to my client's property in which what he is seeking to have done has essentially been done by other property owners up and down the street. A great many of them have received the approval of this board that Mr. DiPaola wishes to also receive to do a similar development. I think it's been successful in the past. It seems, as Mr. Lanzafame has pointed out, to be something that is in the nature of the immediate neighborhood, and its benefit outweighs the detriment. And I urge the board to give this application your favorable consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. The parties having had the opportunity to make a closing statement, it appears to the chair that the applicant, all interested persons, and the board members have had reasonable opportunity to be heard, and that the evidentiary record of this hearing ought to be closed. Absent objection, and in the absence of any motion for a continuance, the evidentiary record is closed, and no further testimony or evidence shall be heard or received. Board members shall now have the opportunity to state and discuss their views on this application.
The application is consistent and almost identical to other approvals that we've given for these very same streets. And I think the last one that we did was at number 24. I would be in favor of granting the variances that have been requested and approving the application with our standard conditions of approval.
Is that in the form of a motion?
It is a motion then.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none, and tonight, Ms. Wishnu shall be voting for Mr. Santola.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Ratner?
Yes.
Ms. Begoli? Yes. Ms. Rishnu? Yes. Chairman Fernandez?
Yes,
Thank you, motion carries.
thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
with that,
Thank you.
there is no
Thank
further business before the board. If I can have a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor? Anybody opposed? Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much.